Hey everybody, Chris Petrocchi here, and today I'm going to be unboxing my very first pan pastel set. We start right now. Hey, my new art ebook Essence just came out. It's got charcoal portraits, step-by-step tutorials, figure drawings, stories about my life in China, a section on creativity, concept art. It's awesome, so if you want to support me, go up to my website at chrispetrocchi.com and grab that. Alright, we have the soft knives and covers. It says paint, draw, and blend. How cool. We have 20 color portrait pan pastel set and the pan pastel palette and tray cover. Man, this is really exciting. The first time I saw pan pastels was on the internet when David Cassan was doing a charcoal drawing. And he had something like a knife, like a palette knife. And I thought, what's he doing with a metal palette knife using charcoal or pastel? I couldn't figure that out. And then on the tip of the knife, I saw there was some white paper. And I didn't know if it was tissue paper, but if you put tissue paper into pastel, by the way, where was he getting the pastel from? A pastel stick? So the tissue paper would tear really easily. So right off the bat, those things didn't seem to make sense. And then I thought, well, maybe it was paper, but paper wouldn't absorb the pastel to put on the paper, or to put on his drawing. And then maybe it was, I don't know what. So then I found out it was these pan pastels, and it took a while to figure it out. Had to do some research. So now I got my first set. So we've got these covers, and they have triangle, round. Let's put this over here. They've got triangle shape, round shape. There's 4 shapes, it looks like, and a flat shape, like a chisel hard brush, and one more type of shape. So they have 2 round-ish shapes. Okay, one is a little more pointed than the other. Then you have squared off, and then you have a triangular shape for edgy details. So, and then they have 4 palette knives, or 4 knives, each one to fit the particular soft covering. Okay, so that's good. Makes it easier to choose your tool depending on what problem you're trying to solve. So we can put the triangular one on the palette knife. This fits on there. Let's do the same thing for the squared off one. Okay, so far so good. This one you have to kind of pull it on, it looks like, to get it there. Okay. Feels very smooth and durable. I guess not going to fall apart. Okay. Oh, but it broke during the fitting of it. Okay, so you have to be a little bit gentle with it. Okay, you can't completely take it and pull it because it'll tear a chunk off. Okay, so there's that. And I bought some soft cover replacements. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 shapes from Pan Pastel. And yeah. So let's move on to the colors themselves. All right, let's open this thing. And here we go. Ooh, a soft art sponge. That's SOFT. That's the brand from the company. Okay, so this looks pretty fun and cool. You got your pan pastel color list. All right, and then you have the pan pastels stacked up here in their little containers, and a couple of knives inside the box. So it comes with the pan pastels, and that comes with an applicator. Get rid of that. Okay. All right then. So let's get into everything. What the heck, let me open this up. Like that. Ooh. It's like makeup. Feels like you're gonna put makeup on or something like that. You see this sort of stuff in the store at Macy's. Okay. So let's get to this. How does this work? Ooh, they just unscrew like that. Oh no, that's the top. Okay. So you have some warm tones. Ooh, look at that. Cool. What a surprise. We got some little applicators, like eyeshadow applicators for small details. You've got a wedge for really chiseled fine lines and details that you could get with a nice chisel oil painting brush. With that. So those all came in this little container. So I'm wondering, for this one, there must be a color under here. Okay, there is. You've got some warm tones. Looks like this is called ultra, I don't know. This is like a very light tan. This is like a terracotta. This is kind of like maybe a raw umber. Perhaps. Then we have, let's see, we got more. There's more. It's good stuff. Okay, there's this. This looks like a cool gray. This looks like a neutral gray. This is a raw umber tint. Okay. Yeah. So this would be a warm tint. This is a raw umber or cool tint. Yeah, this is a burnt sienna tint. This must be a burnt sienna. This is a yellow ochre tint. So there must be a yellow ochre if there's a yellow ochre tint. This is straight up white, titanium white. Is this your yellow ochre? No, it's yellow shade. Wow, what's this? This is orange tint. Permanent red. Ooh, okay, here's some more hidden goodies. The applicator tips. All right, I'm gonna save those. We don't want to lose those. Get away. Okay, we have a blue and a green, but there's more. There's just gonna be too many. So what's this? Permanent red tint. So there's your red, your permanent red tint. Move this up here. They're really, really soft. I just put my thumb in there. You can see, made an impression right here. Okay, what's this one? Red iron oxide shade. A red iron oxide tint. Kind of a violet tint. So you have your base colors, and then you have tints and shades for those, just like you would work if you were mixing paint. Ultramarine blue shade. We've got neutral gray right here. And this is Payne's gray. Love that. Payne's gray for watercolor is awesome. Okay, and here's another hidden gem of an applicator. So we got all kinds of tools. Just got to learn how to get familiar with them and use them. So there's your green. I'm surprised they don't have like a different kind of green, like a yellow green or something like that. Did I get everything? So here's what's all inside. Applicators, a big applicator, and 2 palette knives, and another handy dandy applicator. Okay, so that's it. That's what I got. I will put the list of these tools in the description box so you can order them yourself if you want. And so it came, yeah, this is what came in the box. So you don't even need to order separate ones. I ordered separate ones thinking I would need more than 1 knife, but it comes with 2 knives. And it has one squared off palette knife head and the other one's oval. So it doesn't have a palette knife for the triangular chisel tapered end, and it doesn't have this oval one. Okay, so you might want to get a couple of extra palette knives because it doesn't come like that in the box. Okay, so let's see if we can do something with this. I'm going to clear all this off, put it to the right side here. Let's try to do, let's put these on. Let's try to do a color wheel if we can. So we're going to take red. They don't really have a good yellow. They've got this dairy light yellow shade. Never heard of it. Okay. So those 2 primary colors and a blue. So here's your primary colors. Red, yellow, blue. And we're going to put blue and red make green, yellow and red make orange, which we don't really have, so we're gonna have to mix that. All right, I guess they're assuming you can mix all things from the primary. Yeah, I mean, we'll just mix it from the primaries. So maybe we don't need this green right here. We'll see. All right then. So let's get started here. All right, so I'm gonna, first time putting this in, the applicator to the actual pigment. And let's see what we get. Whoa, it's beautiful, it's so smooth. I mean, you can't tell, there's no texture coming through on the paper because it just fills up all the valleys. And a pastel stick wouldn't do that. A stick of oil pastel, Conti, pas, it wouldn't be like paint. So now, I guess I have to clean it off. That's what I'm gonna do is try to clean it off. All right, so I can put on some true, it's like makeup. Let's put on some yellow here. Is that? Okay, put on some yellow. There it is, yellow. It's the best yellow they got for now. Probably, I'm sure there's all kinds of ranges of color that you can order. So let's take this blue. I'm not gonna even clean it off. Just gonna put it right in the blue. A little cakey there. Okay. I started to make some green, which I didn't want to do. So, all right, let's just do. We'll clean that off again right here. I suppose that's a good enough way to do it, but what if I wanted it really clean? What would I do? Okay, so let's. What did we get? Get a green? We got a muddy green. Add some turquoise shade to it. Let's take that green and just go for it. This green, oh God, it's kind of. Okay. So it's a little dull. We'd have to get some brighter, more pure colors to, you know, to make them punchy if you needed it. All right, so let's try the red. Let's try a new tool here. Take some red. It's a little bit cakey. You can see some of the flakes that come off, but it's very smooth and fine. Okay, continuing on, let's try to get an orange out of this. Put some of that yellow into that red. That's better. Look at that nice transition from the red to a orange to a yellow. And if we had like a brighter yellow, it'd be even more orange. Okay, so let us do the next thing, which is the blue to the red. Just take that blue, which is a little dull. It's got some gray in there. Let's try a new tool. Now do the oval tool. This is less like a color wheel than a color square. Looks like. Grab some red. And just do it. Okay. Are we getting anywhere? Are we getting something? It's a little messy when you have to clean off, right? It's like you have to have a tissue or a napkin or paper towel right next to you so you can clean off the palette knife. All right, so we get this dull violet purple thing. You get the picture. A nice color square. Is it the first time that's ever been done? I can't make a circle apparently. Okay. Let's look at how the tools work. So, do they have black? I do not see black. Okay, interesting. All right, so I'm going to take this umber, raw umber shade and use the oval palette knife. Okay. So we can get a nice strong shape with our application stroke, but with a rounded off edge and slightly convex like that. Okay, we get an edge here. Okay, so it's nice, it's a nice edge. Okay, so let's look at how this chisel hard one works. Maybe we can use a more exciting color. Clean it off. Exciting color here. What do we got? So if I need to get a chisel hard stroke, I can. If I go sideways with it, if I press flat, I can get a nice big fat stroke. It's much more of a crisp edge right here on the left edge than here on the right edge. Okay. So let's keep going here. So yeah, big fat stroke. Okay. And then you can just blend like this. You can hatch your way, just like with a paintbrush or a pencil or anything. You can cross hatch. All right, so now I'm using it more like a drawing tool. This overhand grip would be more like a painting tool. I would hold my brush like that. So you can cover ground really fast and lay down a smooth patch of color. Okay, let's look at this one here we haven't used yet. Let's see what this is going to be about, the iron oxide shade. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. So it's got rounded edges, right? And you can completely just blend everything, just working the pigment one way than the other. It's picking up like a little bit of the paper texture now. So you can go all the way to nothing. Right. That's cool. It looks like I put my finger in there, right? It just looks like a fingerprint. And that's how I would paint too, with just nice strokes like that. Let's try this burnt sienna. It's lovely. Oh yeah, nice and creamy and thick. Looks like watercolor almost right there. So there's a lot of variation with ways that you can put stuff down. Let's try this thing right here. So I'm just gonna give it like a nice big fat edge. Let's change paper. Oh. Let's go to the back side of this. This one's going to get really crisp edges on both sides. You see that? That's really good. That's like a real chiseled off hunk of charcoal or Conti. How else can I use it? Put the square off end. It drags on the paper though. It's a little bit hard to control. It's smooth where the pigment is, but if I change angle, then it drags. You'd have to get used to that. But that's a very strong mark, and it's made with the rounded off edge, which is interesting. applying it. Beautiful. Really looks like paint strokes, huh? To me. Okay. And then we have this wedge, and that's going to be, of course, very chiseled looking from every angle. And I guess you can, whatever width you want, you know, you could get that. You could get put the whole triangle shape in there. You could put this side in there. You could put the squared off edge in there. So this is a very handy tool. It's got a lot of faces to it and varying widths. And then we got the little applicator guy. There's always a little bit of dust around the edge, like extra pigment, so you'd have to like blow that off and clean that off. Okay. Nice. So that's what that thing does. Okay, so there's 3 of those, and that pretty much covers all the tools except, boom, this guy. So what's this gonna be like? This one is just gonna be your biggest brush, right? Your most liberal application of it. You wanna cover big ground. There's no real hard edges on this thing. You can see the edges are kind of beveled. There is a hardish edge there, so we'll try to experiment with what we could get with this, if we can get a hard edge out of it. Quiet all that down, just quiet it down and see if you can cover. How much can this pigment really cover over? It's still kind of translucent. Let's see if we can get like a hard edge out of this. Not really, not as easy as the triangular piece. Yeah, it's soft and rounded off everything. So I would want to get some more brilliant colors, because it's easy to get tones that are a little grayed out, and so I'd want something brilliant like this red for the green and the blue, right? Because once you mix it with these colors, it just turns into a more muted tone, more subtle tone. And is there a way to scrape it out? No, not really. What else can I do with it? What else can I do? Okay, this is rubbing it in. Rub it in, why don't you? This, okay. That kind of pushes it around, doesn't really take it off. So let's see if we get a kneaded rubber eraser. Okay, let's pass a kneaded rubber eraser through it and see what happens. So you can lift it back up. To varying degrees. And I don't have like a magic eraser where I can cut off a really nice chiseled squared off edge to see how that cuts through. A little bit of work, you know, if you need some subtle pullback of color and want to expose the paper again, this thing works pretty good. Okay, so, but if you want to, you're going to have to work it a little bit more. Let's see what happens. Nothing there. Okay, just scoring the paper, not really pushing around the pigment. Okay, and let's just try white. I do want to try this white. Beautiful stuff. White. Ooh. Interesting. Okay, so you could lighten stuff up with white, but not all the way to an opaque white, it doesn't look like. So that's where some colored pencils would come in handy, or some chalk. All right, so that's about it. So David Kassan, better watch out, I'm coming up. I'm gonna learn how to use this stuff and try to reach your level. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching. I got my first pen pal pastel set. And remember to like and subscribe, and also hit the bell so you don't miss a thing. This is Chris Petracchi, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.